So we thought to kick off with a presentation by Vincent Rosso from BlablaCar, who's founder of BlablaCar Spain. And Vincent's going to talk a little bit about his project. And we thought that it was very interesting because it fits really well into one of the most interesting aspects of apps, which is changing the human behavior, because apps are really in our everyday fabric. And we thought that BlablaCar, with its experience of building peer-to-peer networks, can be a nice lesson to be learned around how to engage users. And without any further ado, please come up on stage, Vincent.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks, Carl, for the introduction and for the opportunity to open the show today. It's a real honor and a great pleasure to be here in Barcelona with you at the Mobile Premier Awards 2015. And looking backward in the year 2014, that was a really challenging year. That was really an interesting year where we could see actually how the app world, the digital world, were getting to. I mean, the limits of the universe, no? Because we had a very hard work to do, mainly as for the controversy and for the people that were actually asking for some apps to be removed, to be banned from our life, just because they had like some legal issues, probably, no? And I would say that during that year, only BlablaCar, we had to face and manage more than 4,000 press impacts, where we had a chance to, an opportunity to explain why our model was actually legal. And but that was a huge work, probably the work that a brand just like BlablaCar, which is 3 years ago, didn't exist. That was a challenge that most of the main companies in the world probably had to the big companies in the world have to face, no? But looking forward, looking into the light direction, looking into 2015, I think it's going to be a really interesting year, really promising, where we can actually demonstrate again the real value and the real benefits of innovation, where actually the innovation of creating that is created by the interaction between users, the real value, which is like in BlablaCar we define as the trust. The trust is the essence, is the main fuel of the BlablaCar community, and this is what actually we're creating when what is created by our user interaction. And this is the energy, this is the value that makes BlablaCar works, that makes us impact and having the chance to create a new shift of paradigm in mobility, but always, of course, within a peer-to-peer, person-to-person community. So in a sense, BlablaCar model is a platform, a third-party, neutral third-party that put in contact drivers and passengers that want to go in the same direction at a fair and transparent price that we're controlling, but at the same time, from one side, we have the driver publishing the journey it will have done anyway, and from the other side, we have passengers that can actually get in touch with that driver to travel together. What's the main picture behind that? Is that people traveling together in the same car is more efficient and expenseless and makes for the driver the real benefits of offsetting the motoring cost of the journey they would have done anyway alone. And from the passenger, the opportunity to find a flexible, low-cost, last-minute social journey. And this is real the value that is generated out of the trust. And today, at this mobile event, I just wanted to stress how the mobile is important to increase the trust value inside the community. So be to be or not to be. We are not an on-demand service. Our passengers are going where the driver wants to go and not on the other side. We are not a urban short-distance service. It's more a long-distance journey connecting city to city. We are not allowing our driver to make profit. We are only controlling them to share the cost of the motoring of the journey with other people. And that's the main difference of our model, and this is something I wanted to stress today. And how the mobile in that community is bringing the trust necessary for people to join the community and to use the community. Basically, there is something really important, the mobile aspect, which is time responsive. The more it's not something new. We are all connected to the device. We are all having a really fast responsive time. WhatsApp is a good example of that. In the case of BlablaCar, if somebody sends a message, I want to travel with you, is there any free space? Well, it will know that from the app, but the interaction between users is going to be really, really fast responding. That is important. At the same time, if somebody book a trip, they will actually generate a track record of the transaction, which is something also that can be done now, in this instance, right now, from a ubiquitous point of view. So this is something also generating some trusting value. And the most important one for us as well is the certification of the numbers. The mobile number is something that is linked to the ID card in Spain, at least. And certification of the number is a way to make sure that the person behind will actually respond to your message. Responding to message and trusting ID to a certain extent, and having also booking information, which is a good way to raise the trust level within the community. And that trust, as I said before, is for us something which is generated from user interaction. Doesn't really come from us, it comes from our user. The more they use it, the better it is for the community. And that model is actually something that could be exported in almost any countries. And today, we are really proud to count around 10 million users in the 14 countries we have been launching the service. India being the last one. And at this stage of the project, at this stage of the startup, which is not anymore, like I would say, a startup as we are like more than 250 people right now, but with the spirit we have is still in that way. Launching India for us is always, before anything else, just like a good chance to start again a new startup, okay? And that trust is in that sense for us the good way to export the BlablaCar model across the world and making sure we can be global. BlablaCar is a community. People that use BlablaCar are making BlablaCar. They are BlablaCar. And the trust generated by the interaction between our users is the concrete, is the glue which is necessary to make possible that 2 million people travel every month using BlablaCar. 2 million people is about 10,000 Airbus A320 every month flying or riding sharing a ride with BlablaCar. And that community for us is made out of the interaction of the users for sure. And this is the real value. And making sure that people can travel across Europe, across Spain, across France, and all the countries we are, at a really attractive price, good for the environment, and at the same time, making friends, maybe, but for sure, thanks for their interactions and the trust they're generating within a good community. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Vincent. This was great.